Hey everybody, once again it is time for a back and I don't know, what do we want to call this, hamstring day or posterior chain day? I'm torn between the two. I think since I've been mentioning muscles, maybe I'll call it hamstrings, maybe posterior chain. I don't know. Whatever you guys think. I'll listen for what people think might sound better. But because I'm saying back, it almost makes sense to say posterior chain. All right, deadlifts. I came in and I started with a deadlift. I was going to try to do a few sets, but the 500 for 3 felt really heavy. I was going to try to do that for a few sets, but I got in and didn't realize this is another reason I am doing these splits. I'm noticing I don't recover always as well as I would like session to session. And since Friday, I did 3 sets of heavy deficit deadlifts, right? Remember that on Friday? Came in with the stiff bar, got on a deficit, did 3 pretty dang heavy sets. But that was on Friday. So again, trying to pull twice a week, definitely feeling the difference, especially if there's any volume. So I just stopped there. I'm like, let's focus on all the hypertrophy work from here. And I think, again, we're definitely going to see me do this. I think I really like when I'm doing these sort of splits, keeping to a little bit of my powerlifting roots, in that I really do like to start with a heavy, one of the big 3. Okay, I think I'm going to want to do that. Benching is probably about as light as it's going to go, and I may take that up heavier, either a top set or multiple sets. And then we go into all the other stuff for the split. And again, here, people will notice I went back to pull-ups. And I think this shows how quickly I progressed on chins when doing them. For biceps, because what happened? I was up to 3 sets of 10. Actually, I had an 11 rep set with a 45-pound plate for chins. All right, these nice wide grip pull-ups. Dude, this 25, I got 9 and then 8 and 8. It's 20 pounds lighter, and I can't even match my chin reps. Also, again, it's been noted, I've had other people chime in. A lot of people are like, oh, you don't go all the way up. Well, I kind of do. That's as far as my scapula retract. Because, again, I'm doing this as a lat exercise, right? So all sorts of other muscles would have to be involved to swing it up. And, again, I got big lats. The way I train lats works. But the main thing is getting that stretch at the bottom. But anyone who wants to do that, go do a really wide grip pull-up. And I think you'll be shocked at what your range of motion looks like at the top. And I could be wrong, but again, other people chime in with that. So it's just worth noting that really is about as high as I can realistically go when I'm gripping that wide. But as I've said, when that comes up, the lat activation is phenomenal. So we come into the question, why am I not doing the supine work now? Why am I going back over to this? Well, quite frankly, I think my forearms could use the work, number one. Number two, I want my back day to be a back day. Yes, the biceps still get worked by pull-ups. Yes, the biceps still get worked by all this rowing. But I'm going to have bicep curls. I'm probably going to do 3 different types of curls, all with a supine grip on the bicep day. When they're nice and fresh, they're not fatigued from this. So I'm not worried about treating the back day like a bicep day at this point. I'm just not. Yes, my biceps need more work. Yes, I'm fully aware my back is my best body part. Okay, I'm aware my arms are my worst. But let's just come in and let's actually train the back. Let's focus on the back on this day, because biceps are going to get their own focus. And I'm going to push biceps real hard like I have been doing. But they're going to have, a day where I'm not doing a bunch of pulling first. And right now I'm mixing them with shoulders. Okay, that's what's about to happen. But I may end up throwing shoulders in on the chest day and just having a separate arm day. That's also an option. I have to think about it. And I'm not sure I want to do that. There's some reasons I may or may not want to do that. But I've got options here. Not really a big deal. Just get in and train, make sure everything flows, everything's recovered. But I almost feel like if I throw arms on that day, I'm going to want a closed grip bench. And then it's going to, but that's okay, because it really would only be 3 sets for chest. That's actually probably fine. And closed grip works at least. So just throwing that in. Plus, I guess it's going to depend on how I feel about doing the overhead press or not. It's going to be a factor. All right, so we did seal rows next, though. I did 3 sets of seal rows. I'm a big fan of the seal row. Real big fan. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to do all this posterior chain work on this day, and I don't want that to be fatigue, I don't want it to cramp, let's just do stuff to where there's no posterior chain involved on the rowing. Let's just make it, back work. Because I've got deadlifts, I've got glute ham raises, and I'll finish up with reverse hypers. So, one of my other favorite back exercises, when it comes, it's like I like standing barbell rows, I like Pendlay rows, bent over rows, I like all that stuff. I like it a lot. But when I talk about my back activation, what really makes me feel my back, I went with 3 movements that I feel my back in the absolute most. And that's those wide grip pull-ups, and again, that stretch at the bottom, seal rows, and then one arm dumbbell rows. The first set, I went way too light. I put 85 pounds on, did 15. It's too much. But I supersetted that with glute ham raises. My hamstrings got fatigued real fast. I lost reps on every set, so it was like 12, 10, 8. That's okay. I deadlifted first. But one of the things I'm noticing, no cramping. Up to my salt again. And I guess I'm going to have to just keep potassium super high to compensate. My workouts feel better. Definitely noticing that immediately. So, okay. We'll run with it. But I ended up going up to 95 pounds. Of course, I occasionally get people who are like, they use their dumbbell rows. They do a lot of cheating on the dumbbell row. They do partial reps. They don't stretch at the bottom. They use straps, all this stuff. And I've seen guys who have less back than me, and they're like, oh, I dumbbell more than you. How come my back? And I'm like, well, quit doing all that silly stuff. Also, you're never going to have forearms. Quit strapping up for rows. Jesus Christ, people. When I get guys who say stuff like, my forearms aren't jacked enough, I'm like, well, how strong is your back and you're pulling? There's part of your problem. But back over to that point, you're strapping because you can't grip the heavy cheat rows you're doing. You're cheating on the one-arm dumbbell rows, and then oftentimes guys aren't even getting the bottom. Or they're doing that little silly thing to where they swing it to their hip. Right? Which I feel like reduces the stretch. Just all around not good. I don't like that style. And I will quantify that with, everyone talks about, oh, your back development's your best body part. Then people want to argue about back. Well, I want to do that little swinging style to my hip instead of bringing it up to my chest. Well, okay, but you're not going to feel your back as much. Okay, you can swing a little bit, you can swing a heavier weight. And that's the thing I would point out. Well, I know a few guys who are like that. I've got friends like that. They're like, well, your back is still better than mine. And they do that, but that builds my back. And I'm like, yeah, you're using a heavier dumbbell than me and you still have a smaller back. Just saying, maybe you should rethink that. Swinging it to the hip with straps may not be ideal for your lat development. Just my opinion. People are free to disagree. I certainly don't feel that sort of stuff as much. Right? I don't feel it. But I went with the 3 that I get the most out of. So again, my back's probably going to get even more disproportionate now. But I have to still train it. It's just we're putting more volumes and stuff into arms. Okay? Putting more volume into the arms. Then we finished up with reverse hyperextensions. So the hamstrings and posterior chain got the least work, all things considered, but I had deadlifts in there. Deadlifts are just a beast. Deadlifts are an absolute beast. It's fine. I know people are like, well, I don't think they're great for hypertrophy. I don't know. I don't think the data even agrees with you. That's fine. You do you. I'm going to continue to have a jacked back and a jacked posterior chain. I'm going to do lots of deadlifts and still be strong. You can do whatever you want, though. It's your business. But glute ham raises, reverse hypers, we're hitting all the angles here, though. So even though the sets might be lowest on posterior chain, possibly out of anything I do through the week at this point, but I have a very well-developed posterior chain. It's still probably my stronger muscle groups. I'm not worried about it. Even if I only get 7 quality sets this week and I do nothing other than squatting later in the week on leg day for it, it's fine. I can live with it. Look, I got glutes and hamstrings for days. But they're quality sets hitting 3 different angles, and we work all the functions of the hamstring. That's the main point. So overall, other than the deadlift fatigue, I was real happy with this session, but I expected that might happen. So again, happy with it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys and gals next time.